size. I think Gonzaga's really talented. They have a lot of size. They have Nigel Williams-Goss, who can really play basketball. He's a really good player. But then you have Chimik Karnowski down low for the Zags. He's really big. I think South Carolina might have a tough time with their size and getting the ball in down low. But they can figure out a way around that. I think they're going to be in pretty good shape. I mean, they got some really good players too, like Sindarius Thornwell, Dwayne Notice. Like, they're South Carolina is legit. I mean, the teams they've beaten, like Duke. I mean, who saw that coming? I didn't. They beat them. They absolutely crushed Baylor. That wasn't even close. And then they beat a really good Florida team as well. So the team they went 1-1 against during the regular season. So they have lost to them. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I definitely think if South Carolina can stay out of foul trouble and just stay in there, and avoid foul trouble and have a strong defense against them. I mean, like Josh said earlier, this is the best offensive team they're probably facing in a while. Even Duke, I think Gonzaga's a little better than Duke, and look what happens. So this could be interesting going forward for that game. Do we have any game day predictions for this game? Since you can just do this right, since it's only 2 games.
I think it's gonna be close. Hopefully, it's gonna be close because as a neutral fan, you want to see good games.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say Gonzaga by 5 points. South Carolina having a chance to tie it and then missing, and then Gonzaga hitting extra free throws at the end of the game.
That's a very good possibility. What do you think, Nick?
Ooh, I think these games could go either way. I don't really see blowouts so much because I think we're to the point now where these games could literally go either way. Like UNC Oregon, that should be a really good game. Same thing with South Carolina Gonzaga. I think that could go either way as well. I think it depends on teams' 3-point shooting too. I think that's going to be a big determining factor here, especially with, like I said, with Gonzaga's size. I think one of the ways South Carolina could beat them is with good 3-point shooting.
Yeah,
So I think it's gonna be close.
Yeah, it's gonna be awfully close. I'm on the fence. Personally, I think I'm hoping for South Carolina because it'd be really interesting to see that. And then I think Gonzaga might pull away though, like what Josh said, they might pull away at the end just because they are, I think, a little bit better on the offensive end, and I don't know how well South Carolina might pull off. But I'm really excited for the game. I think we all are excited for that game at least.
I think an interesting side note is we could have a North-South Carolina finals.
Yeah,
if that's
absolutely. That would be interesting.
West Coast final with Oregon and Gonzaga.
Definitely be there'd be some governor's bets going on there for
oh yeah,
depending on the states.
Border wars here.
Border wars.
North and South Carolina.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I guess we'll switch to the next game, which will be Oregon Ducks at North Carolina. This is this is gonna be interesting. I don't know how, I'm gonna root for North Carolina because I have them in my bracket. I love my brackets. But Oregon's been a really surprise team. I mean, they've been producing like nobody else has thought before. So I think it's a really exciting game. But what are you guys saying?
Yeah, I think hopefully this one will be a good game as well. I picked North Carolina when I did my bracket as well to win the championship. So I have to stick with them, and I think they are definitely a little bit better and the favorite. But Oregon could easily win this game as well. I know losing their center Boucher hurt them a little bit. Now they're starting to regroup and learn how to play without him.
Mm-hmm.
And the one actually positive, I guess, if you want to take away from that, is that now some of their guys, like Brooks and Ennis, are starting to do extra stuff that they didn't before. So they're starting to contribute even more and in different aspects. So they're playing more as a team rather than relying on a couple players. But I still think having that injury and not having a true dominant defensive presence in the post will probably hurt them at the end. With North Carolina with Meeks down low and their ability to drive the ball and get to the basket for layups and stuff, I think they'll be able to do that throughout the game. So I think it'll be back and forth. Each team, as happens a lot in the tournament, will probably go on their runs. But I think North Carolina will have the one extra push and pull it out.
Yeah, what do you think, Nick?
I don't know. I think this could go either way. I feel like North Carolina has an advantage because I feel like they're a little bit deeper. As a team, they have a lot more depth to them. And Josh brought up a good point, with Meeks down low. I think that they can challenge Oregon. But, Oregon also, they're really good. They're there for a reason. I didn't think they would get past Kansas, but they did. They got Jordan Bell, who was an absolute monster in that game defensively. So I think they kind of make up for it a little bit, without Chris Boucher. With Jordan Bell's play, they got Dylan Brooks, who's also really good. He's probably going to go to the NBA draft after this season. So, this game could go either way. I just think that UNC has a slight advantage because they have, like I said, more depth to them. Oregon's dealing with that key injury to their team. But, Oregon's just on a tear, so I think they could absolutely pull it off. As a Duke fan, I really do hope they do pull it off because I would hate to see UNC make the final 2 years in a row, more or less have them win it all. So I'll definitely be pulling for the Ducks, Ducks, and why not South Carolina? I'd like to see that,
I'd love to see South Carolina. I'd love to see South Carolina, North Carolina, personally.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet. I think that'd be, probably the best scenario. But if it is Gonzaga, North Carolina, I think that will be an awesome. I think either South Carolina, North Carolina, Gonzaga versus Oregon, or South Carolina versus North Carolina. I think those are, the best possibilities for this set.
Even though it would be tough, as a Duke fan to see that, but North Carolina, South Carolina would be cool.
One you didn't mention. It's going to end up being Oregon versus South Carolina.
Yeah, Oregon versus South Carolina. It's not going to be that one. I don't think that'd be as thrilling as the other ones. I don't know. I just see I think it would be kind of cool. The two underdogs playing against each other, the two Cinderella teams going against each other. That'd be kind of cool. But I don't know. I just feel like there'd be more dramatic stuff going on.
Hey, I'll give you this. I won't mind, for you guys' sake, if North Carolina makes it, as long as they don't win the whole thing. As long as it's North Carolina, South Carolina, and South Carolina wins, then I'll be cool with that. I'd be cool with that.
We all have brackets on the line. Do you have a bracket on the line currently that's going to be spoiled? Or is it already?
It was already, because I had Arizona on one side. They left way too early, for that. I'm trying to think who I had in the top there.
I'm guessing you had Duke. So.
Yeah, Duke, Arizona, and I think Arizona beating Duke because I think Arizona would have probably pulled it off because they were really good.
I had Arizona, North Carolina in the original bracket, but then I did tournament challenge, and one of my winners is North Carolina, so hopefully I can have that win. But Arizona didn't make it, so I'm kind of screwed.
Yeah, I think what I had was Duke, Florida, and then I had Duke over them, and them beating up against Arizona, and I had Arizona and Kansas in the final two.
Yeah,
that's what I think I had.
It'll be definitely an interesting. It's gonna be this is probably one of the more shocking years. This isn't the year that we see the common man teams like Duke, Kansas,
Kentucky. Even they bowed out. Yeah, they. Yeah.
The only team that's
Villanova
the
too.
Powerhouse that has experience is really North Carolina. And that's it because they've been there 1,000 times. But it's you don't even see teams like UConn anymore making this stuff on the men's side. At least the women aren't as good.
Yeah. Just give them the trophy now, honestly. Just hand them the championship. Yeah.
UConn win their trophy now, and then let them play North Carolina in the final.
Yeah. Something.
But that's just how it's gonna be. If you look on the women's side, it's probably gonna be North Carolina. Because it's gonna be UConn. I don't even know who they're gonna play next. Do we know what the women's final?
UConn, South Carolina's in it.
Carolina, Stanford, and I don't know who else.
Let's see. It's
I think it was Mississippi State, right?
Stanford, and then Connecticut, Mississippi State.
Yep.
It would be a huge upset if Mississippi State actually upset UConn. That would be. They are number 2 seed, so it's not like they're bad. They were 33-4 this season. That's pretty darn good.
UConn as a 1 seed in women's versus a 2 seed would be in men's a 1 versus 16.
Pretty much, yeah. It's that ridiculous. Yeah. The disparity is just.
I think the only team that could. Well, actually, that's funny. Both South Carolina teams are in their Final Fours.
Yeah, so they're.
Men's and women's. That's impressive. That is very.
They must be going crazy down there in Columbia.
Oh yeah. Too bad they just can't win a national championship.
Well, hey, you never know. The men could do it. The men's team could actually legitimately do it. Same thing with the women's team. They're good too.
No, I'm saying in football.
Oh, football, yeah.
They've been a disaster.
Since Steve Spurrier, yeah. Since he left.
Yeah, they just cannot compete with a team like Alabama, but that's a different.
I like how he just left in the middle of the season too.
There's really no one who's been competing with that. Other than Clemson now.
Yeah, that's ACC.
No one's really been competing with that.
Hey, Ohio State, they beat him that 1 year in the playoffs. Remember, a few years ago.
Oh god.
Ohio State's good. Let's not underestimate them.
Yeah, Ohio State. That's the one team I will never root for in my lifetime is Ohio State. you could pick. I will pick like a 16 seed over Ohio State any day in basketball. And in football, I will root for like the the mid-major school over Ohio State. I don't know why. I just can't stand them. I think they're overrated. That's
Well, they won national championships, so I guess you can't really say that anymore. So
I mean, if we look at this Mississippi State game, it does look like they do score. Mississippi State does score enough to keep up with Connecticut. They scored nearly 3 points. They've scored 93 points in like 4 of their games, so that's pretty darn good. And they did beat Baylor, so Mississippi State. So it could be an interesting game in the beginning. Probably UConn will just come out in the second half and just kill them, like dominate. That's probably what I can see. Oh, and the Gonzaga coach won AP coach
Mark Few?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Few. Well, how could you not give him the award? They lost once this year.
Yeah.
They were 1 game away from having a perfect season. So
That's incredible.
for a small school like that in Spokane, Washington, like
no name school in Spokane, Washington.
like they're smaller than us in size.
Yeah.
They're very small, like 3,000 some odd number undergrads. Yeah, we're like double that size. We're like 6,000 almost. So
Yeah, they are.
that's insane.
They're a very good team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that'll be that for the basketball front. We can switch into some hockey since playoffs are coming up. I know our teams probably already have clinched a playoff spot. The Penguins and Rangers. Did the Hurricanes win last night?
They did. Overtime, they beat Columbus. Yeah.
They did beat Columbus.
On my birthday too, so that's cool.
They could be making a slight run. We'll have to see how that goes. Because if you look at the standings right now, Washington, Columbus, and Pittsburgh, and Montreal, and the Rangers have already clinched the spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs. The teams that are really in the hunt right now are Boston, Tampa Bay, Carolina, and the Islanders are probably the top 4 that are in the hunt right now. Even though the Islanders are kind of, it's gonna be tough for the Islanders, I have to admit, because it's like they're 6 points behind Boston right now. So and Tampa Bay's deal is pretty darn good, so it'll be tough. But what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, most of like the matchups are pretty much like locked in at this point.
Yeah.
Like the Rangers will most likely play Montreal. Pittsburgh and Columbus will probably play each other. Have fun with that.
Yeah, I'll enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
Ottawa and Toronto will probably play each other. So then it's just down to like the last spot. Like, will Washington play like Boston or like Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I think
one of those teams. So
I think honestly, I think the Rangers are lucky that they're kept that wild card spot because they probably would rather face Montreal than Columbus.
Well, yeah, now it's easier because they're going to the Atlantic side of the bracket.
Yeah, which is a little lighter of a division.
Yeah. Again, like Montreal is definitely their first round matchup will be pretty tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, after that, I would hope they can get through whoever it is, like Ottawa or Toronto or whatever, and then face off against whoever comes out of the other side between Washington, Pittsburgh, and Columbus. So.
I feel like the Rangers always play Montreal in the playoffs, like every year. Like every year that they make the playoffs. Like I feel like they play them last year.
No, they only had the one series against Pittsburgh.
So that
lost.
Good times.
Yeah, for you maybe, but not for us.
Well, I know they play against each other in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think.
The year they made it to the Stanley Cup, they beat the Canadiens.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Conference Finals.
That's all I remember of that.
They usually play like Pittsburgh and Washington more, especially with the new like playoff format where like you play your division in the first round, at least for the most part, the top 3 teams. So.
Do we like the 7-game playoff games, like every game, like even in the divisional playoffs, like not even in the first rounds?
Like 7-game series?
Yeah. Do you like the 7-game series?
Oh, I love it.
I like the 7-game series in all the rounds, yeah. I think they should go back to just seeding the teams 1 through 8 like they used to. But other than that, I do like the 7-game series for all the rounds.
Yeah.
Because like it would be totally different. Like
if it was like a 5-game series, like in the first round or something.
Oh well, yeah, for that, yeah. In terms of seeding, though, like,
Yeah.
because I'm pretty sure the top 4 Atlantic teams would be the 1 through 4 seeds.
Oh, okay.
And then, I mean, the Metropolitan.
Yeah.
And then the Atlantic would be 5 through 8.
Yeah.
So I think actually in the Western Conference, like the way they do the playoffs now.
Yeah.
If you changed it to seeding them 1 through 8, I think you'd actually get the same at least first round matchups.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, in terms of then going like into the second rounds and stuff,
Yeah.
it'd definitely be different too. Because I think I just don't like it because it's not like the 2 best teams could be facing each other in a round that's not the conference final.
Yeah.
Because like if Washington plays Pittsburgh, that's going to be
the
happening in the quarterfinal and not the semifinal,
Yeah.
of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think about it?
I think they should stick to the basic, 1 through 8 seeding. Like Josh said, I agree. I think it's easier, it's less complicated, working out all these teams. And like he said too, you could get, the 2 best teams, one of them out, sooner than they should be because of that matchup.
Yeah.
Whereas you could have them play in the conference finals to create, really good conference finals before getting to the Stanley Cup and have literally the best team in the East or the West to make it there instead of just, some random team that happened to win, So I think they should stick to what they did before. But hey, I mean, in our case with the Rangers, I wouldn't mind switching over to the Atlantic side for sure. The Metropolitan looks really tough, because you got Columbus, who came out of nowhere this year, literally. Who saw them doing this well this year? I mean, honestly.
I have no clue how well Columbus would actually be dominating this year.
And then Washington, they're good like they were last year.
Yeah.
Best team in the league.
They stick to their guns every year.
They're really good.
Perform every time. If we look on the Western Conference, it's kind of interesting. There's only like the 2 teams in the wild card have already standing out against all the rest of the teams in the wild card. There's like a 10-point difference.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty.
The 8 teams in the West that are going to make it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Calgary and Nashville. Who thought Calgary? Calgary must have been decent this year, I guess.
They were good.
And then Chicago, once again, being the dominant team in the West, as always.
Second best team in the league, yeah. Watch out for the Blackhawks in the playoff. They are a dangerous team in the playoffs.
Hey, congratulations to Edmonton for finally making a playoff. Like, good for them. Like,
Edmonton and Calgary both making it.
2 Canadian teams.
Yeah.
Well, they're
playoffs in the same year.
How many? So we've got what? 3 Canadian teams this year.
At least more than that, because you have Ottawa and Montreal.
5. Oh yeah.
To Toronto.
Top 3 are all Canadian teams.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that 5 teams making the. Wow, that's impressive.
Wasn't it like last year that no Canadian teams made it in, right?
Yeah.
It was last year, right?
The only teams that aren't going to make it are Vancouver and Winnipeg. Like they're out pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be an interesting series, absolutely. So, let's see. So, if Pittsburgh plays Columbus, do we see the Penguins making a repeat?
I don't know.
Well, I think Pittsburgh's the better team and they have the more playoff experience.
Yeah.
Haven't they lost a couple games in a row though? Like they've been shaky over the last couple 4 or 5, 6 games, whatever, something like that.
Yeah, they have been a little iffy recently. I mean, getting blown out 5-1 against Chicago was not what I wanted to see, especially if they make it that far to the Stanley Cup Finals and they play Chicago. That's not good.
Yeah, I mean, all teams, even the great teams, are going to go on stretches where they're not playing as well.
Yeah.
But the worrying thing for Pittsburgh is that's coming right at the end of the season, heading right into the playoffs where, again, if it were seeded 1 through 8, and if they were the 2 seed or whatever, they'd have a little bit easier time. But I mean, they're going to be facing off straight off the bat against Columbus.
Yeah.
Who is really should be overall the 3 seed.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be tough. They're not gonna be able to afford to not play well even in the first or second game because if they go down in a 0-2 hole, yes
good.
They could come back, but
it's just not likely.
But if you're not playing that well, it's hard to just flip that switch.
Even being tied 1-1 is tough. In the beginning. You want to get out to that you want to get ahead early because if you don't, then you're up the creek. So what do you think, Nick, about the playoffs, the Eastern Conference playoffs? This could be interesting.
Well, I would hope that the Rangers will make it pretty far. But I can tell you that if you're the Penguins, you do not want to see the Blackhawks coming out of the West, because I watched that game the other night when they played the Blackhawks, and they said they have like a 7 or 8 game skid against the Blackhawks. So for some reason they just don't play well. I mean, it was 4-0 at the end of the first period of that game, so that was very ugly, one-sided for sure. So it'll be interesting though. Like if the Penguins do play Columbus. Like Josh said, they cannot afford to play like they did against Chicago, or else they will be out very quickly, the Penguins. Sad for you, but...
I will admit, the Penguins kind of had it easy against San Jose. I mean, when you think about it, probably Chicago is a lot better than San Jose.
Oh, most definitely, because they never made it that far.
Yeah,
that was the Sharks' first ever Stanley Cup trip, so...
Yeah, so...
You lucked out there, but...
Yeah.
If they get Chicago this year, I say Blackhawks in like 4 or 5. I don't think it's going to be close.
Do you think the Rangers can, get out... Do you think they can get out of the first round against Montreal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have good goaltending. They got Lundqvist. Antti Ranta is a really good goaltender too. He's their backup, but I feel like he's so good where he could start for pretty much any other team in the NHL. That's how good their goaltending is.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely going to be a close series. The Rangers actually haven't been playing all that well over their last couple of games either. So, I mean, if Lundqvist is coming off missing a couple weeks due to an injury, but I mean he's given up a lot of goals in his 2-3 games back.
Yeah.
So I mean if he keeps giving up a couple of goals, they might actually start Ranta in the playoffs.
I mean that's the thing. I mean Lundqvist is getting he's getting a little old in age. I mean he's been around for a while. I mean what is he 35?
Well, look at Jaromir Jagr. He's in his 40s and he's still playing. I mean, seriously.
He can go forever. I mean, these are strong hockey players. They can.
An open ice player and a goalie are two different.
Yeah.
I know, but still, I'm just saying, the age thing,
Jagr, just goes on his 40-second shifts and then gets a rest. Lundqvist has to be ready for
the whole game. Yeah.
60 straight minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there's intermission breaks, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
3 full periods of hockey. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he obviously still has the talent and the ability to be an amazing top quality goaltender. It's just the age starts to take away the consistency a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, as we said, in a playoff series, you can't afford to have games or periods where you're giving up 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just makes it that much harder on your offense too to catch up. You put a lot of pressure on them. That's just not happening.
Who would the Capitals play then in the first round? Do we know if this...
Whoever that last wildcard team?
Oh, so they play
Boston or Tampa or whoever.
Or Carolina. Yeah, Tampa.
I really don't see any competition. I mean, I guess the Capitals will probably come out victorious in the first round. I don't really see any trouble with that going forward. Yeah, and if you go in the Western Conference, I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, Chicago would have to play either. So Chicago would play Nashville.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that could be an interesting series.
Didn't they play last year in the playoffs?
I think so.
I thought they did, right? Yeah. And that was, or the year before that. I remember it was very close. I think Chicago knocked them out, but.
Well, yeah, the way these new playoffs are set up, teams in their division play. It seems like they play every year teams, the same teams, because it's always, for the most part, other than 1 or 2 surprises, it's the same teams that are good.
Yeah.
So you're playing the same. Chicago is guaranteed to play either Nashville or St. Louis every single year. I think they've done that since this new playoff format has come into existence. So.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, so I think any final thoughts on hockey? Any any last thoughts before we might transition to either NBA or throw in some. If you heard about Ichiro, that was hilarious what he said.
I didn't hear what he said.
Oh, he said he'd rather he said about retiring because he's in his 40s I think now. Yeah. And he was
I heard what he said. Yeah, it was funny.
He was I'd rather die than
retire, right? Yeah. Oh, that's when I will retire when I die, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. When I die.
That was hilarious.
I mean, he'll retire when a team isn't offering him a contract.
That's
That too, yeah.
But,
That's.
I was like, that's a little far, Andrew. A little far.
But I'm looking forward to playoff hockey here. I love the 7-game series because it's so intense, especially when you're on that 7th game, and that could go either way. Because I feel like with hockey, it's not like in football, where who's going to win. It's at least college football. I always know it's going to be Alabama, but that series could go either way. In hockey, it just depends on whose night it is. Who's doing well, who's not.
Yeah.
Comes down to goalies, offense, defense. So it'll be interesting playoffs. It'll be interesting to see how Edmonton does because they haven't been there in a long time. So are they legit? Are they going to make a run, or are they just going to be a quick, one and done kind of team
Absolutely.
out in the first round? So I think it should be interesting,
Yeah.
and to see if anyone could challenge the Blackhawks because I think they're going to make it. They're just too tough in the playoffs.
Yeah, I totally agree. It'll be tough for them to not get out. For them to get knocked out of the Western Conference.
Before the final, before the Western
final,
Conference,
yeah. It's gonna be tough for them to not.
I mean,
make it.
St. Louis did last year, but I mean that was a different season. They have different players now, and I think St. Louis is weaker than they were last year, so I don't see that happening. Honestly, if they meet again, I think Chicago's winning that series.
It'll be really interesting if they play again.
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting.
Because it's a rivalry too. It's a central time zone rivalry.
Absolutely.
Chicago, St. Louis.
Yeah.
What you thought? Any other thoughts on playoffs?
Yeah, no. All right.
that's
So
pretty much it.
we could transition a little bit into the NBA. There's been a lot of controversy over players sitting out of games and stuff like that in the NBA because it's such a nonchalant league, in my opinion. I think players play nonchalant, and there's been a lot of controversy over who's gonna get the MVP, Westbrook or Harden, that whole deal. The funny thing I think for me is that seeing the Cavs crumble like this.
Yeah,
it's personally I'm kind of happy about it. I don't know about you, but Boston already clinched the playoff spot. That's pretty awesome.
And they're number 1 in the East now, right? They overtook Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm not a Boston fan in any sense, but I'm excited to see finally a team not Cleveland make the NBA playoff, win the Eastern Conference or at least regular season conference. But it's pretty interesting because there's a lot of teams that will make the playoffs this year that could post a competition. If you look at teams in the Western Conference too, San Antonio's pretty darn good this year too. And they could pose a little threat to Golden State. Maybe. But if you look at, even if somehow San Antonio made it to the final against Golden State or against Cleveland, and San Antonio killed them last time around. So what do you guys think about the NBA standings and everything like that? Playoff coming up.
Well, I think the West is definitely has the more better. It's not good grammar, but has the better overall more teams that can legitimately win.
Mm-hmm.
But because I still, even though Cleveland has been struggling, I still think they're gonna win the East and make it to the finals. And even if somehow they don't, I don't see any of the other Eastern teams challenging whoever comes out of the West. Probably a 4-game sweep. So I kind of want to see Cleveland make the NBA finals just to see a competitive finals. I'd be fine with Cleveland losing in the finals. I don't care. But just to see a competitive finals, either another rematch to the rematch versus Golden State, or again playing a San Antonio team. Because I think those are really the only 3 top teams. Houston is pretty good. I guess they could make a finals run too, but that's the only thing. I think those are the only 4 that actually have a chance at winning the championship.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of good there's good teams who I'm interested to see good young teams.
Yeah.
Who are maybe a year or 2 away from really competing. I think I'm interested to see, as you were talking about, Boston, Washington as well, and Utah would be the 3.
Yeah, the Jazz.
That I'm interested to see how they make it in the playoffs, and they could easily get to a 2nd or 3rd round, but I don't think they're finals contenders.
Yeah. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I think everyone's so quick to, they want the rematch. They think it's going to happen, Cleveland, Golden State. But I say watch out for the Spurs because I think the Spurs are always a threat. I think if the Spurs make it, they could beat Golden State because, remember, they're dealing with an injury to Durant They just basically unloaded their bench. All those players that contributed off the bench for them last year, they're all gone. They shipped them out just to get Durant. So I think that was stupid on their part because now they're weaker depth-wise. They don't have as many second options to turn to. So I think the Spurs will actually take them out if they meet in the playoffs. So they better hope someone beats the Spurs before they get to Golden State. And with the East, I think Boston could actually defeat Cleveland. They already have when they played them head-to-head. So, and Boston has like that underdog mentality. Like people don't think they have a chance, because there's Cleveland with LeBron and Kyrie Irving. Then they added Kyle Korver, Exactly, yeah. So you have like this all-star team, and then you have like this young up-and-coming team, and I think they're going to play with a chip on their shoulders, and I think they could beat Cleveland potentially. So I'm with you. I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to see someone else come out of the East other than Cleveland. And they're just in a slump right now. So
that kind of though reminds me of like a couple of years ago. Like I see the Cavaliers being the Heat with LeBron, obviously, and I see the Celtics being the Pacers.
Oh, okay.
Like they're like a good like young competitive team who like can take this like Eastern Conference Finals to like 6 or 7 games, but they just don't have like they have great players like Isaiah Thomas and other guys, but they don't have like elite level players. We're talking about like 5 or 6 guys in the league, and Cleveland has 2 of them.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true, and probably basically everybody on the Cleveland stack, like on their roster, probably already has playoff experience. Like I know Boston has a little bit, not as much as like Cleveland though, like getting that far and advancing that far. And do they have the stamina? Do they have the stamina to face a Cleveland? I mean, the thing is though, if Tyronn Lue decides to like sit down LeBron a game in the playoffs, like. It's not going to happen, but
no, not going to happen.
Not
going to happen.
Yeah, so I mean that would be interesting. I mean, anything to add to that?
Well, like you said, Boston has a lot of young players who they'll want to be the ones to defeat Cleveland. Take out this giant all-star team. I think it's possible. I know like what you said that they're great, but they're not like elite. I would actually kind of disagree with that a little bit. I mean, they did acquire Al Horford, who's pretty good. He's done good things for Atlanta. They got him. They got Jay Crowder, who's having a really good season. Isaiah Thomas, he's just ridiculous.
How many championships have any one of the Boston players won?
Well, probably none, but that doesn't mean it can't happen, though. I'm just saying.
If you don't have a championship.
Well, this goes back to the argument about defining eliteness by championships, because there's been a lot of great players that haven't won, that have been top.
There's only like 2 guys I'd say are elite without championships, and that's like Harden and Westbrook, and they're the MVP contenders. So.
And Westbrook has made it to the finals. So they have Harden and Westbrook.
Well, there's Kevin Durant too. He hasn't won a championship, and he's also really good in his own right. So.
Well, he's gonna make it this year, probably.
I was like knocking that off the list for this year, but unless you've won a championship or you've won an MVP, you're not elite. Like I'm sorry, but you're just not.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a lot of controversy over that. Like,
it depends on what you define as elite. You can define elite in other ways.
Also, that defines on who's gonna be MVP this year.
If we're doing like a draft of just the Cleveland and Boston roster.
Oh, okay.
So just those whatever.
We're just doing the rosters. Okay.
All right.
Just the Cleveland and Boston roster of the 30 guys.
Okay.
Who are your first 2 picks?
Both of those guys.
LeBron,
yeah.
So I mean,
no, I need Tyler Zeller on my team, man.
Yeah, I know, right? Although Isaiah Thomas, I would take him too. I mean, he's really good.
I would take him 3 just because of that, but I would definitely take LeBron, Kyrie, and then decide later on. Then definitely Isaiah Thomas. I mean, look, he's a young and upcoming guy in the NBA. He's not going away anytime soon. He's not retiring anything. Here's the deal that I've heard about LeBron. This is his peak. He's up there now, but he's on the downhill. His career is on the downhill. It's getting there. Hey, look, the guy's getting old. Guy gets injured all the time, and he's not the player that he used to be.
No.
He's not the LeBron that we saw with the early Cavs.
Or with the Miami Heat, right?
Or even with the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
And also, here's the thing too. I think while LeBron might have a lot of great talent behind him, he didn't really have he had more talent behind him. I think when he was on the Heat. I mean, if he had a stack of guys. He had Dwayne Wade. He had Chris Bosh. He had Ray Allen. He had all those guys like behind him, and they produced for him. Like the other guys, like for Cleveland, haven't really produced, or they've been injured, or Tyronn Lue for some odd reason is sitting them out during games, which is like okay. Like,
well, that's because the regular season in basketball doesn't mean as much.
Yeah.
Well, he was pretty good.
Because it's so many people make the playoffs. Yeah.
When you clinch the playoffs in like November, December.
Yeah.
Like there's really no point.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Is true.
So they're just saving them LeBron up for the playoff run.
I don't see anybody else waiting. So.
But no, I'd love to see Boston do it. Like you said, I'd love to see them take them out, and be that team that proved to everyone that they could. And then to refute your point, that they actually are elite and that they can win Eastern Conference Championship and they can make it. Because
like LeBron is like he's already sealed himself as an elite player. I mean,
we all
know that. We all know that Kyrie's probably going to be he's if he's not already, he's going to be an elite player.
But the thing about Kyrie is, can he do it without help? Because look at where he was before LeBron came to Cleveland. They sucked. I mean, he did nothing.
That's the thing. If LeBron is still there, he's going to be fine.
But the question is, after LeBron leaves, I wouldn't consider. I mean, Kyrie's really good, but I wouldn't consider him elite on his own. I think he needs help. A co-star to help him be elite.
It depends on how long LeBron's going to stay in the league for.
Yeah.
If he's going to stay in the league for a long time after like this year, then Kyrie is probably going to still be. He's going to be progressing.
Sure.
He's going to be hitting his high peak of his career like that as soon as possible. And we'll have to see how we don't know what the future lies ahead for anybody right now. I mean, we've got kids like Lonzo Ball already going into the NBA, like one and dones, like going into the NBA freshman in college after that.
Jason Tatum, from Duke,
and all those guys. So we don't know, really, But I'm excited for this, for that. But if we got to talk about Lonzo Ball, oh my God, his father is like.
Yeah, he needs to stop talking. He just literally needs to stop.
We all agree
just stop.
His father needs to stop talking about his son and bragging about his son all the time.
Oh yeah.
But honestly, I think Lonzo Ball is actually a really nice kid. I think he doesn't like being in the spotlight. At least from what I've seen in the interviews that I've seen with his father and him, he doesn't like talking, and his father has to be the spokesperson for him. The problem is his father is makes these outrageous claims that my son can he said that his father said that he could beat Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that's laughable. That's laughable. Even at Michael Jordan's age, he could, play circles around him. Honestly, that's not even close.
I understand they're trying to promote their brand and stuff, but you don't even promote your brand that way.
No.
It's a lame reason to do it.
That's it's pretty sad actually. Is what it is. It's sad.
But I guess since it's already 4, we'll kill some time. I guess. What else would you like guys to talk about? Anything new going on?
I mean, that's the major stuff.
Those are the major stuff. We pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, because those sports are wrapping up. We're getting close to the Stanley Cup playoffs. NBA playoffs too is approaching.
NFL draft. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much hype over the draft. I can't stand over. But
yeah, they definitely overplay it. That's for sure.
Well, do we? I guess one NFL question before we'll wrap up. Do we think where will Kaepernick line?
Well, who cares? That's the question. Who cares? At this point, he's faded into irrelevancy.
His couch.
That's a really good prediction.
He's not that good.
Yeah,
no, he's really not.
Does anybody really want
about the whole kneeling stuff? Just his talent-wise, he's not that
Yeah,
good.
I was gonna say, and then the extra stuff on the side. No team wants to deal with that.
Yeah.
Protesting the national anthem. No team wants to have that kind of a PR nightmare around them for no talent. So.
He's gonna stand now just his last dying try to get a team.
Yeah.
Get a job.
Did you also? I guess. Do we think Tony Romo is gonna go to Houston?
I think he's gonna be traded somewhere because he wants to start. He wants the starting position.
He's gonna go either to Houston, to Denver, or to Kansas City.
Kansas City would be interesting.
But why? They already have Alex Smith.
Well, backup.
Oh, okay. Well, he wants to start though, so.
They would acquire Romo and then trade Alex Smith to another team.
Really?
They would take Romo over Smith.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
They've been pretty good these last few years with Smith. Keep that in mind,
Yeah, but like you see Kansas City in the playoffs the last couple of years. Like they're really good, but they can't get by like the top Patriots or Steelers with Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Like again, like he's a great quarterback, but he's not an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that.
They're not going to be able to make that final hurdle
Well,
with Alex Smith.
I feel like it's kind of unfair to pin it all on him. Like I think you have a good point there, but I feel like it's unfair because you have so many other positions that are key, like the O line. You have receivers. You have those guys.
For
You know?
what? For the Chiefs?
Yeah, for the Chiefs. Yeah, because
they got out.
I mean, quarterback, like it or not, is the most like integral position in any sport.
It was the Steelers that beat them, right?
yeah, but they didn't even surrender a touchdown to the Steelers. So their defense is good. Their offense just needs to be a little bit better. Yeah.
Their offense got.
Who do we blame for their offense not being great?
Well, like I said, there's many different.
Quarterback.
Well, yes. I'm not saying don't blame the quarterback, but
The quarterback wasn't like okay. Alex Smith, like he can be really good. I think that was the first time like they'd been in that kind of playoff scenario before, and it was like a tough thing in transition. But he had a hell of a season. The guy had a hell of a season. For like his first like real shot playoffs, like he did a really good job. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be worked on there because there's like there's during that game there was a lot of missed drop passes, a lot of
exactly. That's what we're saying.
But there was also, he threw some interceptions. He did some of that, and the problem is when you got a guy like Ben Roethlisberger, and Le'Veon Bell is going to run through the defense like that.
But they did a good job of containing him though, because they didn't give up a touchdown. It was all field goals, just field goals.
But I bet your offense got produced.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can't even get to the 20-yard line,
or if you're there, you can't punch it in. Yeah.
The fact that their defense is really good makes the point even more of why they need a better quarterback than Alex Smith.
Well, maybe so, but they also need the receivers need to catch passes, too. Their O line needs to get better, so he has more time to throw it to the receivers, right?
If Tony Romo does go to the Chiefs, can he adapt? Well, can Andy Reid probably take him pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, even with Tony Romo, I still don't think they're better than the Patriots.
Yeah.
But at least they get over one hurdle. Like they get over the conference semifinals hurdle, and at least I think they make it to the AFC Championship game.
I'm surprised the Patriots didn't even trade Garoppolo yet. I was surprised about that.
I think they can't make up their mind because they want to and they don't, and they want to again and they don't, and it's like they got to make up their mind on that.
That's an interesting deal there.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see where, like I said, all these players end up. I mean, Denver really needs a quarterback because they've proven they can't get it done with what they have now. I mean, Trevor Simeon's just not going to cut it. It's not going to happen. Yeah.
Houston kind of needs a quarterback.
Yeah, after they.
Even though they're saying we're good, we're happy with our quarterback situations. You guys aren't going to make the playoffs anytime soon with that quarterback.
That was.
You guys got lucky playing the Patriots. Just because of the division. That division is a mess. They got lucky.
Well, I mean, Houston's defense was the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
And their defense played pretty good against New England.
Yeah.
But look at the amount of money they gave to Brock Osweiler when he was just a backup to Manning. I mean, that was ridiculous. Yeah. He never had a shot because he was only a backup. And to lead a team, you have to be at a different level. Like we said, there's levels to quarterbacks here.
If you really wanted a good, I could see Garoppolo in Houston. That'd be I think he would do a better job than Osweiler, to be honest with you.
Well, he's kind of it's unproven.
They're going to trade him out of the conference.
Yeah, they get him in the NFC. Yeah, that's for sure. Tampa Bay, though, I heard is stacking up right now. The Buccaneers, they're looking better. They added somebody that's going to play that's I think to wide receiver. I don't know.
Sure.
I have to look that up. Yeah, I didn't really. They're following them so much.
So, but yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how that is. That's gonna look up because, let's see who they get. Oh yeah, they got Deshaun Jackson.
Don't like him at all.
Of course, played for the Eagles and Redskins.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a Giants fan, you hate him. Jeez.
Also, the way he plays, it's just annoying. Who throws the ball when they're at the 1-yard line and doesn't get a touchdown?
Yeah, exactly. That's.
So that's gonna be interesting. That's an interesting acquisition, in my opinion. But so the Buccaneers might be making a run too because
he's older though. He's not.
Yeah, he's not as good as he used to be.
No, he's got to be in his mid-30s, right, or something like
Yeah,
that.
this is like his fourth team, third team.
At least, yeah, because
already?
Philadelphia, Washington, and then with Tampa, that's his at least third right now.
Yeah.
His third team, at least. Not before then.
And I heard there was like some issue with Cam Newton too recently about.
Well, I think he was like hurt or something, so he's got to try to get healthy.
Like the coach said, he needs to regain his confidence
Well,
again.
I think his attitude is.
His attitude is the problem. He's got like he's got like a Grayson Allen problem.
Everything's going great when you're winning games and you're on top of the world.
Yeah, and then you have
great. The best players can
rebound after a bad
rebounds through a bad season, and he wasn't able to win like the close games that like a Brady or a Rodgers would have been able to win.
Exactly.
They were dealing with a lot of issues, injuries, and then they left a huge hole when Josh Norman when they let him walk. I think that was a really stupid decision on their part because he was a good player. I mean, gotta give the guy credit. He did get in fights with OBJ, but I mean,
absolutely.
he was a good football player. So then they had to fill that hole, and it was just a disaster for them because they thought they could replace him with some rookie, and it just didn't work out the way they hoped it would. So
let's see. So all right, who goes number one in the draft? We'll make this our final pitch. Who goes number one in the draft? Anybody? Don't know.
Yeah, I haven't really followed that honestly, so I couldn't tell you.
Miles Garrett is projected to go number one.
Who?
Miles Garrett.
Oh.
He's a wide receiver or tackle, I think. Defensive guy for the Texas A&M.
I don't even know. Are there any real true star? Well, Deshaun, Watson. Yeah, for Clemson. Anybody else that's really
Kaiser, from Notre Dame.
Okay.
Quarterback. The North Carolina quarterback apparently. Oh, and Christian McCaffrey of.
Stanford. Yeah.
It's a pretty big guy. That's important. He might be. He's only going to go 20th, which is kind of funny. They have a 5-round mock draft now. This is insane.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's
hilarious.
all of the play-by-play essentially.
Yeah, it's like oh here we'll just give you every pick that's gonna go on. So I think that's it for today. You guys got any? Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about, or we're all set?
Yeah, pretty much.
All
That's the major things that are happening.
Yeah, that's all that's in sports right now, people. I mean, we can't add more than we talk about. I'm sorry, unless you want to, unless you want us to have a question for us on Facebook Live, but that's it. So this is our first and the last episodes of the Nick, Josh, and Aaron Sports Talk Radio.
That's right. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, we're getting close to May here. Yep.
So thank you all tuned in today, and we will catch you later. And peace out, people.
Stay tuned for another edition of Nick, Josh, and Sports Aaron Talk Radio Show.